When it comes to learning to draw, not only are the physical skills of drawing, like using the pencil and the materials important, but also learning to observe your subject, whether it's from a photo or whether you're drawing from life. Learning to observe your subject is very important because without this observation, without careful observation and understanding of your subject, it can be difficult to render it accurately and draw it accurately. Because if you're not observing it correctly and you're not seeing it, truly seeing it, you're not going to be able to make it look like what it actually looks like. I know that sounds pretty dumb, but it's kind of true. If you're not able to see things accurately and observe accurately, then you can't replicate it accurately. I know that's like super common sense, but observation is really one of the first things I do before I do a painting or a drawing or create any kind of art. Especially when I'm doing plein air painting outside or drawing from life, at these different coffee shops and stuff. I always have to observe what's in front of me. And sometimes I do this when I don't even have my materials on me or I'm not even thinking about drawing. Sometimes I'll just go for a walk outside and I'll just observe nature. I'll just observe different kinds of light, different kinds of color, shadows and values. And I take mental notes. And there's different ways to kind of do this and observe. That's one of them, is to do it when you're not even drawing or doing any art. Usually artists are naturally observant. They're very observant. My whole life I've always kind of been pretty observant. I've always kind of, when I was in a group of people, I would kind of just sit back and observe the conversation and kind of learn about everybody. Same with being in a classroom or something. I was kind of quiet and I would just sit back and observe. And that's kind of the mentality you want when it comes to art. You want to just observe things and take note of things, the lightness, the darkness, the shape, the colors, all these different aspects. And you can do this any time of the day, no matter where you are. You can take note of like what kind of lighting, what kind of shape, depending on what you're interested in, whether it's animals or landscapes or architecture. You can always take these mental notes and, you can reference these later. You can write them down even, that would probably be helpful as well, writing them down if you have a notebook with you or, a piece of paper and a pencil. You can write down some notes. This time of the day, this is what happens with these shadows and reflected light. I mean, you can just write stuff down, whatever comes natural to you, whatever you're observing. So when you sit down to draw something from life or from a photo, it's very important to, before you even pick up the pencil, to observe the subject, take notes, look at the shape of things, the overall proportions. Try to get those figured out before you even get onto the paper. Really, it's kind of like building a house or something. Some kind of analogy like that, like building a house. You gotta have a plan. You gotta be able to have a vision, and then you draw up a plan, and then you build the house. Because if you just started building the house, you just jumped right into it, building the house, and you're not sure where everything is gonna go, or you're not sure how everything's gonna work out. It's going to be difficult to build a house, and you might not have a strong foundation. So same thing with drawing, same thing with creating any kind of art. You got to have some kind of plan in mind. Kind of have, and it comes from observation. Observation is very important, and I think it's overlooked a lot. I think it's very overlooked when it comes to learning to draw. And that's why in some of my recent videos, I really talk about that first, observing your subject, because it's one of the most important things. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, if you're not observing it, you're not going to be able to, and understanding it, have a greater understanding that you gain from this observation, you're not going to be able to accurately replicate that. So definitely practice this, spend some time observing your subject first, take note of the size, the height, length, width, colors, darkness, lightness, edges, all these different aspects of drawing, painting, whatever it is that you're into. And try to develop some kind of plan before you get onto the paper. Like try to figure out the proportions, and then like think about how you're going to go about drawing it. Where are you going to start your drawing? What's your process going to be like? Try to have that vision of what your drawing is going to look like. You know, you don't have to get too detailed with it. You know, you don't want to be like disappointed or anything, but try to envision yourself in the process. Try to envision yourself drawing this. How would you go about drawing it? That's something I always do. It's very important. And that's really part of the planning stage, is like figuring out how I'm going to attack this problem and solve this drawing problem. And every drawing is a problem that you have to solve. And yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.